Hello and welcome to another segment in our Council District Updates. I'm Vince Higgins with the Council. I'm the Public Information Officer. And with me today is our famous counselor from Council District 7, Councilor Tammy Fiebelkorn. How are you today, Councilor?
Good, Vince. Thanks for doing that.
I'm glad you can join us. Thank you for being here. We know it's a busy schedule for you, especially during this past month. But we want to thank you for coming out. And we want to make sure we do the main things that you wanted to do today and talk about some of the projects that are important to you and your district. And we wanted to start off with the first segment with our Carlisle and Macklin. I understand that's a larger piece, the Carlisle and Macklin traffic piece. How can you expand on that for me and show me how large it is?
Well, this is one of those exciting projects that doesn't sound that exciting, but when you live in that area, it becomes really exciting. This started when I first took office. Folks were complaining. We have a lot of kids that live in that Carlisle-Macklin area that have to cross the street there to get to school. And can you imagine a kid trying to get across Carlisle in rush hour traffic? It's really frightening. Yeah. And so that was one of the first things we did was fund that crosswalk. Now, it took a little while to get it in because of supply chain issues during COVID, but it's up and going now, and the community is really thrilled. Everybody feels it's way safer for kids and adults, of course, as well. And then tied to that, there were a lot of concerns about traffic problems, speeding, all those kinds of things in that general area. And so the McDuffie Twin Parks area, we did a traffic calming study for the entire area.
Right.
And it took a while, but we've gotten the results back, and we are now working on developing the plan to do more of those traffic calming projects in that area. We're going to have restriping, better signage. We're even getting a traffic circle. It's going to be the first one in District 7. And so that whole section of District 7 will be a lot safer for pedestrians, bicyclists, and people in cars. Right. So we're really excited about it.
So those major streets there, they transect and intersect with the school district there, right?
They do.
So what streets are the main ones that you were concerned about and the people were concerned about?
So the number one concern was that area at Carlisle and Macklin, and we've got that in. But the entire survey was between Lomas all the way down to Constitution, Carlisle all the way over to Washington. And there are lots of problem areas in that section of town that we're going to be able to address with restriping, better signage, things that slow people down so that people who are walking their dogs are out with their kids or their kids are trying to get to school are experiencing a safer journey than what they were before.
Yeah, because the traffic can be, I've been down there, and I can understand how bad the traffic can get at times down in that area.
Yeah.
So it's good to know. How many children you think have to cross that specific crosswalk at Macklin? Just a round ballpark figure?
That's a good question. I don't know that we know, but I know that I can tell you that I had dozens and dozens of parents who requested it. And then since we've got it in, we've gotten dozens and dozens of parents calling and emailing thanking us.
That's wonderful.
So, any one kid is enough. We want to make sure every kid is safe, but there's a lot of kids that are needing to get across there on a regular basis. And you want to be able to send your kid to school and not worry about their safety of getting there and back.
Right. So that's by and large a good thing that's going on in that region of the city. More lighting is going in on some of the major streets. So that's going to help the populace be safe.
Yeah.
Including
the number one thing that people ask us for is help us feel safer in our neighborhoods.
Right.
So we're working on it.
And recently, I remember going down there with you to that intersection. And at that intersection, I noticed that when people saw the lights turn on at the crosswalk that's now operating, I saw the traffic respond. So the people are responding to that, and it's great to hear that.
Yeah, I think, hopefully, anytime you see a child trying to get across the street, you would stop. But when you're not expecting it, when there's no signage, there's no lights, you really might not react quickly enough. So this kind of hawk signal with the flashing lights, a lot of signage, really does get your attention. I drive by there quite regularly, and people are stopping and, following the rules, and I see the kids getting across just fine. And so it's really nice to see something that, is a small thing. It's not the biggest project happening in District 7.
But it adds to the
big impact.
It adds to the level of comfort for the citizens. Speaking of that, Los Altos Park, I have to tell you, I was duly impressed with the progress that the city's made, and thanks to your advocacy on that. Tell us more about the stages and the phases of this great transformation.
This is such a big project. You know, we were talking about the crosswalk is a small thing. This Los Altos Park remodel is huge undertaking. It was started by my predecessor, Councilor Gibson. And when I took office, we thought we were really close to finalizing the fundraising and we were going to have this great new park. And then we realized that with COVID, everything costs a lot more and takes a lot longer. And so we were able to, in just over a year, raise the additional money that we needed to finalize phase 1 and phase 2 of this project. So we are now at $26 million for the phase 1 and 2. Plus additional money that went into the Los Altos pool remodel that had happened previously. So this is in total a $32 million project in the heart of the city that's going to really become an amazing asset for everyone in our city and in the region.
Yes.
We finished phase 1, and that is 5 new baseball fields.
And that's more than was there before, correct?
One more, which allows us to bring in regional and national tournaments,
Yes.
which is great for economic development as well as giving, people in our city a place to go. It's bringing in folks from out of the city and out of the state.
In fact, the day we were there when we visited, that was during the big powwow, right?
Yep, that was their softball tournament with the powwow. So it was really nice to see
And for
that.
those of us who remember what it was before the transformation, and to see this vibrancy, the clean lines, and people enjoying themselves from all ages, that was impressive. So, but then I was wondering, how do you get to the pool? I was wondering, how do you get to the pool at Los Altos now?
You go into the main entrance and there's all the softball fields, and we have new amenities throughout there, like the new concession stand and the new walkway. That walkway in phase 2 is going to extend the entire length of the park, past the pool, down to the BMX bump track, which is going to be super exciting. We had the kickoff for that earlier this week, and that's going to be a place where people with their dirt bikes, their dirt motorcycle, or their dirt bicycles can go and really work out. But there's also going to be a child's playground, pollinator gardens, and perhaps most importantly, the dog park is coming back, and it's going to be better than before. Folks are really, really excited to be able to get back out there with their dogs in that area. That was one of the most popular dog parks in the city, but it's going to be so much better after this remodel. So we're really excited about phase 2, and we should see that completed in the next year and a half, and we'll see the entire length of the park activated with great family-friendly activities, and we're super excited.
I know a lot of my friends were waiting for that park to come back.
Yeah.
The dog park especially.
Yeah.
And then the pump track. Imagine the ages of kids that will be able to go out there. And I saw some pieces in the news about this individual who had grown up trying to ride his bike in the park, and now he's like, this is great. This is a wonderful progress towards finding something that everyone can enjoy.
Yeah, I think it's great that in this park, when it's finished with phase 1 and phase 2, there's going to be something for every single member of your family. Everybody from somebody that's on an organized sports team to people that like to do the BMX to kids playing, dog park. If you just want to go and sit under a tree and have a picnic, there's going to be something for every single person in our community. And I think that's a really nice asset to be able to offer our citizens. And it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a place that you want to spend time.
I see what you're doing here, Councilor. You're making things beautiful for the people in the city, and your constituents especially. And around the corner, not very far from there, is a stretch that's sort of commercialized, the San Pedro stretch. And that's where you wanted to do some things that would improve the walkability in that area. Tell us more about that project.
Right. So thankfully, there's a group of really involved citizens that have been working on the San Pedro Main Street project for a decade. And we are finally at the point where they are in the accelerator program for the state, so we're going to get Main Street designation. And this is the stretch of San Pedro from I-40 down to Lomas, and then extending down to Central, which is in Councilor Rogers' district. But we want to make it a multi-district project. And we really want to focus on economic redevelopment in that area that attracts folks to kind of hang out in that area. We want some really family-friendly businesses. We want to make it more walkable, more bikeable.
Right.
And so we have a really interesting project plan that's going to be streetscaping all up and down that area. So it's a place that you want to go walk. There'll be some seating, some really pretty landscaping, nice ADA accessible sidewalks, really somewhere that people want to hang out. My goal, I live not far from there, but my goal is at some point here, we're going to have a place where we just all ride our bikes over on Sundays,
Yes.
have brunch, hang out. That's the kind of thing that we want in this community. We want that community building where we all feel like we can be out on foot and on bike and enjoying our city. And this is going to be a great opportunity for that.
Establishing a connection between the business community and the residential community is right nearby. That's important, isn't it?
It really is. The more that the business owners are working with the residential folks that live in the area, the better for everybody, right? The more business those businesses are going to get, and
Right.
that's economic development, which we all know. We want to support those small businesses. Small businesses are the heart of Albuquerque, because we want to make sure that they are getting business. But we also want to make sure that we're doing it in a way that complements the efforts of the neighborhood associations and the citizens that live nearby there who want to be able to walk and bike in the area. And so they're working together. This team that's working on the Main Street designation works regularly, meets with businesses in the area, hosts business evenings where all the businesses come together to talk about what's going on in the area. It's really the model of how we want to see redevelopment happening with businesses, citizens, and the government all working together.
And that is affiliated with the Main Street USA projects, correct?
It is, yes. So we will soon have our Main Street USA designation through our state. They're in the accelerator program now, so they're working hard. And then I'm very pleased that the city was able to put aside some money for them last year to get through that. And then we just finished the budget on Monday night, and we were able to put in an additional amount of money to allow them to pay for, a staffer to really move some of these projects along.
Perfect.
So, again, they're doing all the hard work, but the city is supporting them in any way possible. And in this case, it's mostly through financing, which is what's sorely needed in that area. So that funding, along with this streetscaping project that we're in the middle of planning right now, is really going to transform the area.
And see, these are the topics that not the citizens get a lot of hear. They don't hear a lot about that. So I appreciate you bringing those to light because these are important to the people who live in your district and very important to you as your advocacy shows.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank you again, Councilor, for taking the time out to do this. And I wanted the audience to know that this is not just a one-off. We'll be doing these connections and trying to connect you to your district and hear from your councilor straight from her own mouth. So thank you for tuning in. Come in again sometime when we do our next episode. And did you hear the collective sigh when we said the budget was passed? Thank you. Tune in again.